Hi, everybody. So,
Okay.
there goes my alarm to let Janet in. I have to figure out.
Do we know how many people are coming? Lots, right? Millions, hundreds?
The host.
One or two?
Host to
Hi,
Janet.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, it says you are the host now.
I don't know.
There we go. Hello.
There. Whoop. I don't know what just happened.
All right. So, Barbara, did you get started?
Yes, I did.
Awesome.
How far did you get, Barbara?
I'm on the 6th row. That's all. Not far.
Of the first pattern?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Super duper. Can you hold it up so I can see what colors you picked?
Sure. This is the start right there.
All right.
And my daughter's handing me the rest of the yarn.
Okay.
It's the blue. That variegated right there. And then that dark blue.
Oh, hold it up a little higher. Can't quite see it.
Up.
There we go. Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, I love that shade.
Yeah.
Good shot.
That's it. Yep.
Ah, all right. Super.
How many of us are there?
I'm not sure. Let's see.
There were only two that clicked in through the shop email, but that doesn't mean others won't be. I will go out to Facebook and post it now.
All right.
I
I just let Lois in, it said.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, shut it off.
All right.
And by covering all your connected devices with serious security.
Do you really need to work?
Listen, this, while you get on this.
All right. Zoom in. Okay. What do I need there?
See if I can kind of,
Leslie,
because you have this thing right here.
hide notice. Let me see. Hide notification. Let's hit that.
Yeah,
I
this
am
isn't
so bad at this. All right.
gonna let it do it.
Okay. I just got rid of that. So,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay. We got, whoop, we got somebody on their side. We got Barbara's iPad. And Lois. And, oh, who's Fire Tablet? Hi.
These are all your participants here.
Okay. Barbara, that's, yeah, there's Barbara over here. Yeah. And that's Lois.
I haven't seen Lois since leaving.
You remember Lois, yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Super. Awesome. So, Lois, you picked your yarns.
Yeah, I went today and I got the kit. That was
Okay.
sitting on the table.
All right. So, you have not started yet.
I did the first row.
All right.
Or just to make sure that I wasn't twisted or anything, because
Okay. The journey does start with the first row.
Yeah.
And who's Fire Tablet? What's your name, Miss Fire Tablet?
Oh, they're muted. They need to unmute.
Hi, my name is Susan.
Susan. All right. Susan is the mystery lady. All right, you have to see. Wait a minute. See? Believe. We're going to believe we can do this. I believe. We're that special for inspiration. So, Susan, have you started?
No, I haven't started it yet. I wanted to wait.
All right. So but you've downloaded the pattern and all that other happy stuff.
Yes.
You want to hold up your colors so we can see what they look like?
Sure. This one.
Okay.
This one.
Okay.
This one.
All right.
Oh, that was me.
And this one.
And that one. So what was your inspiration?
Oh, well, I went into the shop Saturday morning, and the first one, this one, was the one that drove everything else.
Isn't it fun when one screams at you and says, okay, this is me?
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So, Ann, are you there? Ann Baruby, are you there? Oh, those are good, Lois. So what was your inspiration, Lois?
My inspiration was that I read about this on Facebook, but didn't have time until today to really figure out what was going on. And by the time I got to the shop, they were getting ready to close, and I just said, "You got something all set? I'll just take it and try
Good
it."
for you.
But
Good for you.
these are not colors I would normally pick, and
Interesting.
I'm really glad because I went there thinking I was going to get orange and gold, which are colors I never work with.
Okay.
But red and brown are close enough to colors I don't work with. So
All right.
excited.
Super. Good, good, good. So is Barbara, are you there? Barbara?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay.
Yep.
So what was your inspiration for your color pick?
It was picked. It was already picked. It was one of the
Already picked.
sets too. Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, and Ann, you're in darkness there. Are you there, Ann?
I don't know where she went.
I don't know which one. Maybe she went to get a drink. I did say beverages were no, whatever you want. So, if you've taken a class with me before, you know it's kind of like loosey-goosey. You want to see what my inspiration was? Because I did not show it in the video. So, if any of you see Coco, the movie Coco,
Yes.
first of all, it's fabulous. It's an animated feature. It has a heartwarming story, a happy ending, sort of, and lots of beautiful colors. So, and it's themed after the Dias de Muertos, Day of the Dead, which is Halloweenish. So, and that's coming up. So I did, let's see. Oops, wait.
Here we go.
Better.
Because I'm at a meeting.
And that picture there. So in order to be prepared to give you good advice tonight, I jumped ahead and have got mine almost all done. So,
Ooh, that's pretty.
that's what it's looking like.
Oh, I
So,
like that.
yeah, so I'm happy what they turned out. Poor Andy knows I angsted over this for quite a while, but I'm happy.
To say
Sorry,
the
Andy,
least.
but I love it. I love it.
To say the least.
So, just, I did angst over it. So, let's see, for those of you who have not started it, have you worked circularly before? So you know how to close a loop.
Yes.
All right. So what is your favorite way to join the loop so that you don't get the gap between the beginning and the end? What's your favorite advice?
Me?
Anyone who wants to jump in. This is free form.
I just do it extra tight, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's easier ways to do it.
Okay.
I was going to say, just pull the yarn really tight.
Yarn tight. Okay. How about you, Barbara? Do you have a secret?
No, I've never done it before.
Okay.
This is the first time.
All right. Well, that's kind of awesome. All right. So I am prepared. So I have this. This is just a little 16-inch needle with some cast-on stitches in there. And so I've got a couple of suggestions for ways to close that gap or ensure that it doesn't lead to chaos. So first of all, one of the things when you're joining in a circle is you want to make sure that the spine of your cast-ons is not twisting around the needle or you will have a Mobius. So I have got those all, they're twisted. Now I will untwist them. Okay. So based on current events, I am calling this the beloved Ruth Bader Ginsburg join. Because what you want to do, let's see if I can get this here. I don't know how close you can see that. But I have got all of my cast on stitches around the inner circle of my yarn. So think of that as her little necklace. So you get all of those going where they're supposed to do. And then there's two methods that I favor, and neither one is better than the other in my opinion. But one would be to cast on an extra stitch, one more than what's called for, okay? And then you would put that extra stitch on your left-hand needle to pair it up with your very first cast on stitch, and then knit those two together. So you end up with the same number of stitches, but by adding that one and knitting those two together, it really tugs that tail into the beginning.
Okay.
So that would be one way to do it. The other way I do it is I literally take my first and last stitches and I trade places. So I put the first stitch on the right needle, and I bless you, I put the left stitch on there. So now I have literally traded places with my first and last stitch.
Oh, I like
Okay.
that.
And so that is also a way to secure that, to prevent the little gappy do thing.
Okay.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
how's those for a couple of helpful hints to get started? Even if you're past that point, you can use that in the future. So, that was one of
The first one you
trying to
mentioned.
get-
Yeah, no, I think the first one that you mentioned, we've done, when I took a sock class, I think they taught me that.
Could
When you
be.
pick it up, have that extra stitch, and then that way you put them together.
Yep. That's any kind of circular knitting. It's, you really want to have those snugged up tight.
Yeah.
Now, so I did make notes because I want this to be successful today and for all your future projects. So let's talk about how do you know if you have enough yarn for your long tail cast on. Now, in this particular knit along, she said I think 2.5 lengths.
Yep.
For your cast on. Well, I cast on loosely and I just made it with like this much to spare. But very few patterns give you an approximate length to cast on. That kind of leave you high and dry. So I'm going to undo this here. So one of the ways you can figure out how much yarn you're going to use is if you take your yarn and you can wrap it around your needles 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then slide that out, slide the needle out. So that's the approximate length with this yarn and this skinny needle that you'll need for 10 stitches. So then you can go, I need 20 stitches, I need 30 stitches, I need 40, and so on and so on. So that's a good approximation for any weight yarn, any size needle, is just wrap it 10 times and then do however many you got to cast on.
The door.
Yeah, and then a little extra.
And a little extra, yeah.
A
So
little extra. Now, if you really want, go ahead.
I was going to ask if the cast on method really makes a big difference, because I always struggle with that one. So I just do my
Okay.
knitting of, coming up with stitches.
Okay. So typically I do long tail cast on.
Yeah.
You can do what they call a knit on cast on.
I think that's what I do.
The only thing I would not recommend is for you to do that E method cast on. You know how you wrap it around your finger and dump it on? Because that doesn't leave you any spine. It's like
Yeah.
holiday lights. So one of the most foolproof ways of making sure you have enough yarn if you're doing a super duper long cast on would be to take your ball of yarn and you tie the beginning ball of the yarn and the end ball of yarn together. So now you have them tied together. Okay. And then that gives you your 2 yarns to do the long tail cast on. So both of those are coming from the active ball. So you're not going to run out because one is working from the inside of the ball, the other's working from the outside of the ball. So you'll, then when you get to the end and you've got everything you need on there, then you can cut one of those and it really doesn't matter which one. So that's really, really helpful for a long cast on. It's also very cool if you're doing something pattern like this. You can tie 2 different colors together and twine them like that for a long tail cast on, so that your loop on the bottom hem is going to be one color and your starting stitch is going to be another color. So if you want to go wild and crazy, that's something you can do for fun. Okay, wild and crazy.
Fun. I love it.
We love fun. We love fun. So that's my advice on how to not run out of yarn and play yarn chicken. So the next thing is the very first row in your pattern says to knit 2, purl 2. Okay. So you're merrily going along your very first row, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, and you get to the end and you miscounted your cast on stitches and you have 3 stitches. Right? So do you throw it on the floor, stomp around like a 2-year-old, rip it all out and start again? No, this is one of those times when you can fudge it. So what you would want to do is if you end up and you only have 3 stitches, you'd want to knit the first stitch. Then you want to knit the front and the back of the next stitch, because that's going to give you the appearance of a knit stitch and a purl stitch. And then you purl that 3rd stitch. So when you're coming back around the next time, it looks like 2 knits and 2 purls. And if you do the knit 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, when you have 5 stitches left, you're just gonna knit 2, purl 2 together, purl 1.
Yes.
So you're not gonna lose all that time and effort you've spent casting on and doing your first row. Now, I can tell you from personal experience, mine turned out fine. Row 1 turned out fine. I went on to row 2. I'm happily knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, and then I got to a purl 1. I had miscounted, mispatterned, skipped a purl in the middle of all of that. And so again, this is a place where you are not going to throw it on the ground. You're not going to have a fit. You're going to fudge, because you do need that 164 stitches for all the succeeding patterns. Sometimes if you're doing a tube and there's no pattern in it, you can just keep knitting, because 1 stitch isn't going to make a big difference. But when you've got patterns involved, you do have to have the right number of stitches. So again, when I got that knit 2, purl 1, I knit the first knit, and then in the second knit, I knit and through the front and the back to give me another purl. So now I've corrected it. So I now have the knit 2, the purl 2s, and they're all set. So everybody was happy. I got it around. So pitfalls of the first row is you don't come out even with the knits and the purls, so you can fudge that. Row 2, if you've miscounted, mispatterned, you can fix that, but you need to end up with 164 stitches.
Hey, put me on FaceTime.
Everybody good?
Yes.
Awesome. Hopefully we'll get work this. Okay. So, there's a hint I have for when you are changing colors from pattern 1 to pattern 2. So you can just start merrily working on
Make sure the cheesecake's
color B for your first round. Okay. When you get around to the first stitch of the second round,
Hey, show me your
you just want to slip that stitch instead of working that stitch.
your pumpkin, the M&M one.
And that will ease the jog. So you won't get such a noticeable contrasting jog.
What's wrong?
Yeah? You with me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you slip the first stitch of the second round purlwise. So you're just sliding it over. You don't work it. And that just kind of smooths that color jog out. Now, in section 2, you're working with colors B and C, and you're changing them several times throughout that one section. So when you're doing that, you don't have to worry about this slipping the one. It's only when you're going from one major dramatic color change to the next.
Oh. Oh, it's outside.
Okay?
Okay, so it's only on that second, the very
Yeah,
first,
when
of the second row.
Yep, when you're really doing a dramatic color change there, you want to just slip the first stitch of the second round. And that goes for any time you're working in the round and doing dramatic color changes.
When you only have a few rows to the colors and you're going to change, do you cut them off and start the new one, or do you leave them attached?
Sometimes, okay, so sometimes the pattern will instruct you to cut the yarn.
Okay.
Sometimes it leaves you up to your own devices.
Okay.
My rule of thumb is that if it's going to be used within the next, say, 2 inches or maybe 10 rows, what I would do is I would go around, and every time I come around, I would twist, give it a twist so that you're carrying the non-working yarn up the inside of the cowl. If you're going to cut it off, I would leave 6 inches for weaving it in.
Okay, thank you.
Better more than less. Yeah, jump in with your questions.
So how was the chicken fingers?
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. So you don't have to worry about that second thing in section 2. Section 3, I will admit, I hit the link. I watched the video. I put it down. I came back and watched the video again. And, you know, I got it. I did get it. I really did get it. But it's a little tricky, so I don't want you to be discouraged. And I am at that point where I'm ready to do that particular section, so I can give you a demonstration. But before I jump in there, I want to make sure that you have read the directions for all 3 patterns and understand the abbreviations and kind of have it in your head where you're going with them.
So I'm planning to YouTube video watch some of these because I don't exactly understand the left and working the yarn and back, but I figure I can figure it out, and if I have trouble, I'll ask you when we meet.
So I have to tell you, the abbreviation for that is, oh man, I haven't got the pattern out here. Slip 1 with yarn and back, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's a very long thing.
Yeah, where is it?
Oh, I have a pet fly
Right,
that's helping
the
me tonight.
M1R. Make one right using the left-hand needle, pick up the running thread between the stitch just worked and the next stitch from back to front, knit into the front of the new loop, first stitch, one stitch.
Okay, so here's my advice. That is one way to increase, but if you know how to knit front and back, do it, because nobody's going to know the difference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she wants you to make an increase there. That's her preferred kind of increase. this particular cowl with all the pattern going in it, it's okay to substitute a different kind of decrease.
Remember, you can always stop in the shop when we're open and we'll be more than happy to help you.
Great.
Yep.
Okay? So, yeah. So, if you ever
So let me just jump in here. My easy way to remember is I'm left-handed. When you go to do a make one, right-handed people are always right. So you go from the back to the front, so they're in the front of the line, and then you pick it up.
Okay. All right. So I have another spin on that. So the two choices are make one right and make one left. Okay.
Yep.
And it all depends on whether you're scooping the yarn with the left needle from the front to the back or the back to the front. Okay. And that's what makes the difference between a right and a left.
Okay.
If you scoop it from the back to the front, that bar is going to be leaning to the right. Can you picture that in your head?
Yeah.
If you pick it up that way, it's going to go over that needle this way. That gives you a right slanted increase. So if you go from the back, that working yarn is going to be going to the left.
Right.
And that's going to give you a left leaning decrease. So you just have to think about, do I need to go left or right? And if you scoop it up and it's going this way and you're supposed to be doing left, just go around the other way.
Okay.
So, yeah, that I only figured that one out about a year and a half ago. You know, I'm a late bloomer. What can I say? But it has saved me from having to look that definition up dozens of times. So it's just the way you pick up the yarn is the way that stitch is going to lay. So,
Okay.
do you have your patterns handy?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Notes.
Page 3.
Yes.
Pattern section 2.
Bug detectors.
Page 3, pattern section 2, bug detectors. I don't get all the rest of that stuff. I'm just doing a pattern. So you start out by just knitting 3 rounds of color B. We can all do that.
Yeah.
The next one, color C, is knit 3, SL1, PW, WYIP, which is a whole lot of abbreviations to say slide the stitch over, slip the stitch over. You're just going to leave the yarn in the back and slip the stitch over without working it. Slip 1 purlwise with yarn in back means move the stitch over. That's all it means. Easy peasy?
Yeah.
Yep.
It can be. You just slide it over. You don't work it. It makes for an elongated stitch. It's used in a lot of patterns to give you texture.
Okay.
So you don't work it. It doesn't change your stitch count because you still have that stitch on that needle. You just skipped it. You skip that stitch. Move it over. Okay. So then in color B, the next section, it says knit 1, slip 1 purlwise with yarn in back, knit 3, slip 1 purlwise with yarn in back. So you're going to knit 3, slip 1, knit 3, slip 1, knit 3, slip 1, knit 3, slip 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, technically, yeah, knit 3, slip, knit 3, slip. So it's a 4 pattern repeat. No.
Even with 164.
Okay, now let me just go back to right above it. The first time you're using color C. I don't know, let's see. There is a bold P3.
Mhm. Yep.
That is bolded because the first inclination for all of us is going to be to knit those 3 stitches like we did in the row before. But that purl, oh, I hope you can see this, gives it this little textury thing going on.
Okay.
Okay, now,
Yep.
if you didn't and you just knit all the way around, the knitting place will not show up at your door. It's okay. You may want to do the same thing the next time you have to repeat it so it looks the same, but it's okay. You know, very little in knitting is going to be, you know, earth-shattering or lead to the world disintegrating. You can fudge a lot of it. You can make up your own patterns. Nobody will know you made it up, but you'll know, but you don't have to tell. So it's a question of knowing when you can fudge and when you can't fudge. So typically you can't fudge if you're doing a pattern with a specific number of repeats, because if you don't, your repeats are going to do this, or they're going to do this, or something like that. So as long as you keep the same number of stitches, you should be good. And if you knit where you're supposed to purl, as long as you keep doing it, you've created your own pattern. You've become a designer. Congratulations. You're doing fine. So that's just the shorthand of that slip one with yarn and back thing. Means just move the stitch over. Just give it a break. Give it a rest. And then, so that brings us to the very exciting Rhode Island umbrellas. Does anybody have any insight as to where she gets these names?
No.
Nope.
She's making it up just like us. Yeah, so even the explanation doesn't help. But anyway, so I don't know how much of this you're going to be able to see, because I don't know how to make this bigger, but whoop, I got too many ends. I'm going to try to turn around and do it this way. So let's see. Oh, let me see if I can. So what the stitch looks like. Oh, I can't get in big enough. Is this little flower thing there?
Okay.
It's like, okay, so it's what it's going to be is three strands of yarn that go to the same spot. Okay, so what she has you do is you knit 3, because this is all patterns of 4, at least in this section. And then she wants you to go into the stitch 1, 2, 3 below. Can anybody see that?
Yeah.
3 below where you are. And you're going to wrap your yarn around. And bring through a loop. And she cautions you in the video not to pull that loop too tight. So, yep, see there's
Okay.
that loop sliding up and down there. All right. Then you're going to knit the next stitch. And then you're going to go back into that same hole where you made your first loop and go in and pick up a second loop. So are we only doing, yeah, I'm sorry, okay, we're only doing 2 loops. So you pull a loop through 3 rows below. You knit the next stitch, then you pull a loop through from 3 rows below. Okay, you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so now what was 1 stitch is a loop, a stitch, a loop. A loop, a stitch, a loop. A loop, a loop, a chalupa. All right, then you're going to knit the next 3 stitches. knit 1, knit 2, knit 3, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go 3 below, 1, 2, 3 below, insert your needle, and pull through another loop. If you watch the video, she cautions you to make sure you keep those loops loose, because otherwise it's going to start bunching up your project, and you don't want that. You want big loops.
Loose.
Big loops, and then knit 1, and then another loop going into the same hole 3 rows below. So you're going to do that all the way around that row. Okay, so that is with color D. That's round 4 on page 4. So 4, 4. So in the instructions, it literally reads knit 3, then with yarn in back. Insert the RHN, right hand needle, into the center of the next stitch 3 rows below, and draw up a loop of the working yarn to the height of the current working row. So she wants to make sure you got slack there. And so that loop is going to stay on your right hand needle. She doesn't make that really clear in the written directions, but you can see it in the video. Then she says to knit 1, and then insert the right hand needle into the same hole 3 rows below, and draw up a second loop. So now you're going to have 3 stitches total, and then you're going to knit 1.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
when you pull those stitches up, they stay on the right needle. You don't actually work them.
You do not work them. So essentially, and it's, you start out, she had you make 1 stitch there a while back. So you have 165 stitches. And when you get through this row, she says you should have 231 stitches. Or loops on your needle. They're not necessarily stitches, they're loops on your needle, okay?
Okay.
Don't get intimidated by that, okay? And then round 5, after you've done all of those pulling up the loops business, okay? It says you knit the 3, and then you slip the loop purlwise with the yarn in the back. You're going to knit that middle stitch that you knit in the row below, and then you're going to slip the second loop and then knit 1.
Never mind.
You okay?
I didn't hear it because mine froze.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
When did I lose you?
Right after you said round 5.
Oh,
Round 5. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So in round 5, what you're going to do is when you come to a loop, you slip it with the yarn in back. Just slide it over. Just skip it. Knit the stitch that you knit, and then slip over the next loop. So you're not working those loops. You just slide the loops. Make them go to the right hand needle. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome, Lois. You're holding your head. Are you okay?
no, I'm writing. Sorry, I'm writing it
Okay.
down.
All right. I just,
I'm getting it now.
oh, my brain. Okay. So we still have those 231 stitches when you've gone through round 5. Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody's there?
Yep.
Now, round 6 is where we get rid of the loops. So in round 6, you're going to knit 2. Then you're going to knit 2 together, knit 1, and slip, slip, knit. Does everybody know how to do the slip, slip, knit, and knit 2 togethers?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm getting lots of shaky hands. Good. All right. So, and she very nicely, what a good lady. She puts down a note. You should be working the knit 2 together with the first loop stitch and the stitch before it. And then you should be working the slip, slip, knit with the loop stitch and the stitch after it. So that's what's going to spread those loops apart, is you're going to pull one to the right and pull one to the left when you're doing your knit two together and your slip knits. So those three have been next to each other for a while now, and then you're going to, all right, so we're going to put those two together, and we're going to put those two together, and so that's what's going to give you that kind of, I guess, the spine of an umbrella. I don't know. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah? So, those are the hints I can give you from working on the pattern, and pitfalls I can see that might arise or questions you might have. The video was helpful. I will tell you that she demonstrates 2 different stitches, and the first stitch she demonstrates is not the one that's in this pattern. So you just have to kind of bump your way past that to get to the tutorial for this particular stitch. But essentially it's just going down 3 rows and pulling up a loop, knit the next stitch, another, pull up a loop, and knit some more.
Okay.
Are we feeling confident?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm believing we're confident. It didn't sound very confident.
Okay.
Okay, I know that there are videos from Casapinka, but I will try. This is actually recording, so I'm going to try and upload it to the website. But we know how much technical difficulty I've been having lately, so I'm going to wait till Tuesday till Lori comes in and have her help do it. But we will put this on the blog page of the website.
Great, thank you.
Oh, next time I have to put makeup on. So everybody's in a good place right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This is great.
We're off in a happy start?
Yep.
Well, this took a lot less time than I thought it was gonna.
Okay.
And then that's it. That's the end of the pattern.
That's it for this week.
Okay, so the plan is to have all of this done by next week when we meet.
It is, but okay, so except for my last 3 rows, this is literally what you have to get done this week. It's like
Okay.
4 inches worth of knitting.
Yeah.
So I would say, the first day, try to get through pattern 1.
Yeah.
The second day, get through the first repeat of pattern 2. The third day, do the second repeat of pattern 2. The next day, do the first repeat of pattern 3. The next day, have wine. The next day, do the final repeat of pattern 3. So if you break it, that gives you 5 different sections that you could do in probably 45 minutes in an evening.
Yeah.
Depending upon how fast you are. But I think that's reasonable. So that if you have to skip a day, you won't feel. You don't want that.
Janet,
It's not good.
Janet,
Yeah.
we can disregard page 5.
Page 5.
Oh yeah,
Now-
that's for the beginners.
So you have been, when I've asked you, slip knits, when I talked about swapping yarns, when I talked about long tail, you, Susan, have said yes, and you're nodding your head. So I can take from that your understanding you are an experienced knitter. So page 5 is for the sissies, and we have no
Okay.
sissies here tonight.
No.
There are no sissies in this group.
Okay.
Okay? You can all do this. I believe in you.
You too.
Yeah, Andy does too. Yeah, we don't want to leave her out. Yay, team. So, like Andy said, if you come to a stumbling block, go back on whatever video she's going to post and see if I talk about it anymore, or see if you can see it in the video, or have one of the staff members there help you. If you don't get it done, I still want to see you back next week. We're going to meet Sunday at 7. I think Sunday at 7 is a great time to get together. Is it good for you?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I hope so.
Next week the Pats play 4:20. So if I'm a few minutes late, it's just that the game's still on.
All right.
But I'll
Well,
be
you
knitting
gotta
while I
be-
watch the game, so that's
I
okay.
was just gonna say that. So I have no idea what next Friday's clue is gonna look like. I have no idea how complex it will be. I'm assuming it's gonna be about another 4-inch swatch because it says this is gonna be a 16-inch project. So that tells me over a 4-week class,
4.
it's gonna be 4 inches a week. Now, the one thing now you asked me about, wait. Page 5. The one thing that I didn't talk about was, yes, you do have to do page 5, and I have not got there yet. It's section 3.14. Where did she get these numbers from?
Huh?
3.14. Yes, on page 5. And this is the cowl she describes starts at 28. You can decrease it down to 24 inches at the neck. Okay, so if you are going to do that, that is the section you are going to follow to start your decrease shaping. It is not required. The pattern will also go the full length without any decreases. Okay, so at the end of this section, you will have to decide, do you want to do shaping or do you not want to do shaping? And that's a personal decision based on how you think you're going to wear this cowl. The intent, obviously, is if you're doing shaping, it means that the rows we have cast on will definitely end up at the lower part of your neck, and what we finish is going to end up here. And if you create a tube, who knows? You may want to turn it around. You may like the color and the pattern at the finish instead of the beginning. You know, I can't decide. I think I'm just gonna do a tube, but I'll hang in with you if you're gonna do the shaping part. So that 3.14 is the decreasing optional. Yeah, so for those not working the decreases, you are gonna finish with 3 rounds of color C and cut it.
Cut it.
Okay, so if you're there next week, I'll be here next week. I'm going to try to get the clue on Friday and get it worked up so I can see what pitfalls and what things are not common sense and see if we can help you along with it.
So where can we print next week's pattern stuff?
It should be on Ravelry. It will on Friday, as she points out, sometime when I damn well feel like it. Although she didn't say that. She said at some time.
Yeah, she did say whenever she. I did see.
Yeah,
that.
whenever she gets the whim. So Friday, keep checking your Ravelry. It'll say download available. Hit the download available. I know it said there was a glitch early on, but I didn't have a problem downloading it. So you'll download the next clue. We can all look it over together. You are not obligated to start the next section until we've met on Sunday. But if you want to jump in and be overachievers, how about it?
Okay.
So it should automatically go into your Ravelry account
Okay.
and you should be able to print it out. Yeah. If
And
you,
it's not too late if you've got some friends who want to do something crazy on a Sunday night, get them up to speed. We'll be here.
Yeah.
again, if you have problems downloading it and printing it, you can come into the shop and we'll help you out.
Okay.
Yep. We're there for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Anybody have any questions?
Nope, thank you very
Nope.
much.
Was
Nope,
everything
great.
super kind of clear?
Yep.
You like my drying rack in the background here?
Nice.
Who knows what the background will be next week?
Okay.
All right. I've had a ball, ladies. Thank you for joining me.
Thank
We're going
you.
to have
you.
fun. If we're not having fun, it's our own fault.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Done at 7.
7 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay.